It's Christmas Eve, and 12-year-old Clara is about to receive a very special gift from her grandfather, the famous inventor, Elias Howe. She opens the box to find an old Nutcracker robot. Suddenly, the robot activates and tells Clara that she is destined to save the land of sweets. The robot reveals that he is the Nutcracker come to life, and that he needs Clara's help to defeat the Mouse King AI and restore balance to the system. So begins their adventure through the fantastical cyber realm. Hey there, welcome to my channel. Today, we are going to bring Clara's story to life with a Wiz mobile Nutcracker. In order to build out this futuristic world, we'll need to incorporate technology and artificial intelligence. We can achieve a cool futuristic look by using hard surface modeling. This means we'll use sharp edges and 90-degree angles to create our models. This technique is often used in science fiction films to create spaceships and robots. We'll also be using projection painting to map textures onto our models and Blender-esque geometry. Nodes to create a realistic flow of data around our characters and environments. To make our Nutcracker come to life, we'll use motion capture to transfer our movements to the Nutcracker's skeleton. For the Mouse King AI, we'll create a swarm of mice and animate them in Houdini. Then we'll render them in cycles to get beautiful simulations of light and shadow. And finally, we'll take all of these elements and assemble them in our final composition. By incorporating a variety of different techniques, we can create a truly immersive experience for our audience. Let's start off with the Nutcracker. It will be based on the traditional Nutcracker doll, but with a futuristic twist. I'm starting out with a simple blockout to get the overall shape of the Nutcracker. I'll be using Blender's sculpting tools to add detail to the Nutcracker's face and body. The Nutcracker should have a strong jaw and look determined. I'll be adding some facial hair to give him a more distinguished look. Once I'm happy with the sculpt, I'll take it into the UV editor to add some color to the Nutcracker. I want to give him a sleek black and gold look. I'll be using a program called Substance Painter to texture the Nutcracker. This program allows me to paint directly on the 3D model and create textures that will be used in the final render. I've created a metallic gold for the details on the Nutcracker to give it a futuristic look. I'll be using this same material for the other assets in the scene to tie everything together. Now it's time to animate the Nutcracker. I'll be using a motion capture suit to record myself dancing as a reference for the Nutcracker-esque movements. I'll import the mocap data into Blender and apply it to the Nutcracker skeleton. Now it's time to create the environment for the Nutcracker. I want to create a futuristic cityscape that the Nutcracker can explore. I'll be using a combination of 3D modeling and photo scanning to create the environment. I'll start by modeling some basic shapes for the buildings, and then scan some real-world photos to use as textures. Once I have the environment set up, I'll add some fog and haze to create a sense of depth and atmosphere. The next step is to add some lights to the scene. I want to use a combination of practical and environmental lighting to create a realistic look. I'll add some spotlights to highlight the Nutcracker and create a sense of direction. Next, I'll add some ambient lighting to fill in the shadows and create a more immersive environment. Finally, I'll add some light shafts to create a sense of depth and atmosphere. To complete the scene, I'll add some effects such as lens dirt and camera shake. These effects will help to sell the illusion that we are really in the world of the Nutcracker. I'm really happy with how the scene turned out. The Nutcracker looks great in the environment, and the lighting and effects really help to create a sense of depth and atmosphere. Overall, I think this scene captures the magic of the Nutcracker story while adding a unique futuristic twist. Next, let's move on to the mouse. The mouse will be the antagonist of the story, and we want it to look menacing and powerful. To create the mouse, I'll start with a simple sphere and use Blender's sculpting tools to add detail. I'll be using a combination of hard surface modeling and organic sculpting to create a hybrid mouse that looks both futuristic and menacing. To give the mouse a more realistic look, I'll be using a program called ZBrush to add fur and other organic details. Once I'm happy with the sculpt, I'll take it into the UV editor to add some color. I want to give the mouse a dark, dirty look to make it look like it lives in the sewers. I'll be using a program called Substance Painter to texture the mouse. Substance Painter allows me to paint directly on the 3D model and create textures that will be used in the final render. I'll be using a combination of realistic and stylized textures to create a unique look for the mouse. To bring the mouse to life, I'll need to animate it. I'll be using a combination of keyframe animation and motion capture to create realistic and fluid movements. Now it's time to create the environment for the mouse. I want to create a dark and dirty sewer system where the mouse can escape to. I'll be using a combination of 3D modeling and photo scanning to create the environment. I'll start by modeling some basic shapes for the sewer pipes, and then scan some real-world photos to use as textures. Once I have the environment set up, I'll add some lighting and effects to create a dark and eerie atmosphere. It's time to populate the scene with mice. I'll be using a combination of 3D modeling, animation, and particle systems to create a swarm of mice that will follow the main mouse. Each mouse will have its own unique animation and movement, so that they do and all look the same. To create the swarm, I'll be using a program called Houdini. This program is great for creating large numbers of animated objects. Once I have the mice animated, I'll render them in a program called Cycles. This program is great for creating realistic simulations of light and shadow. I'll add some post-processing effects such as bloom and lens dirt to create a more immersive experience. Finally, I'll combine all of the elements in a program called Nuke. This program is great for compositing or combining multiple images into one final image. I'll use Nuke to combine the animated mice, the environment, and any other elements to create the final shot. Overall, I think this scene captures the darkness and menace of the mouse character, while immersing the viewer in the world of the Nutcracker. Our last step is to create the battle between the Nutcracker and the Mouse King AI. We'll use a combination of live-action footage, CGI, and visual effects to bring this epic battle to life. To create the live-action elements of the battle, we'll film ourselves performing stunts and fighting with foam weapons. This will give us the raw footage that we need to create the illusion of a battle between the Nutcracker and the Mouse King AI. We'll then take this footage and composite it over our CGI backgrounds using software like After Effects or Nuke. We'll also use motion capture to capture our movements and transfer them to the Nutcracker and Mouse King AI characters. This will allow us to create realistic and fluid movements that will immerse the viewer in the battle. To create the AI-themed battles, we'll use projections and lighting to create the illusion of data streams and energy blasts. This will give the battle a futuristic and high-tech feel. Finally, we'll add sound effects and music to bring the battle to life. We'll use a combination of Foley, sound design, and a licensed soundtrack to create an immersive and exciting soundscape that will amplify the action on screen. Overall, we want to create a battle that is epic and exciting while still being family-friendly. We hope that our audience will be on the edge of their seats as they watch the Nutcracker take on the Mouse King AI. And there we have it. By incorporating technology and AI into this classic tale, we've created a Nutcracker story that is both nostalgic and fresh. The combination of whimsical ballet-inspired animation, futuristic visuals, AI-themed battles, and a powerful soundtrack creates a truly immersive experience. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed our reimagining of the Nutcracker story. If you liked this video, please subscribe to see more of our work.